The agency that shot and killed two American citizens are now in your airport. And one of Trump's closest allies just admitted on camera that this is part of the plan. Here's the context that actually matters. Back in January, ICE killed two American citizens, not undocumented immigrants, not violent migrant gang rapists. American citizens named Renee Good and Alex Preddy during immigration operations in Minneapolis. After that, Democrats refused to fund DHS without guardrails for ICE. And while refusing to fund the DHS, understanding that TSA needs their funding, they have had all of their bills for funding TSA blocked by Republicans. So 6 weeks into that standoff, 400 TSA officers have essentially quit for not getting paid. Thousands more are working without a paycheck, presumably until they can get themselves a job that actually does pay them. And all of this is causing up to 6-hour waits in security checkpoints at airports across the nation. The president's solution to this is to send his paramilitary ICE into these airports to facilitate operations. I guess, I don't know. He posted on Sunday that they'd be at the airports on Monday, and then Tom Homan went on CNN and said that there is a plan in progress. So no training, no mandate, no actual goals. You just have ICE officers walking around airports and detaining people. Yes, detaining people. Tom Homan has said that ICE will conduct immigration enforcement at these airports. And while all of this is happening, the former head of the DHS, Kristi Noem, was just fired. And look, I know what you're thinking, but it actually isn't about what happened in Minneapolis. No, it's not like they care about the two American citizens that were shot there. No, Kristi Noem was fired because she spent $220 million on promotional ads for herself, and then when testifying in front of the Senate, blamed Donald Trump for approving it under oath. The White House denied it the same day and then would later fire her. This was a loyalty test, and Kristi Noem failed it with flying colors in the public eye. Her replacement was Senator Markwayne Mullin, who was confirmed at a Senate vote 54-45, which means every Republican was on board with this. He's a former MMA fighter, he is a senator of Oklahoma, and he is one of Trump's most loyal allies. Like, they have a good relationship. When Markwayne Mullin's teenage son was in the hospital, apparently Donald Trump called every single day to check up on him and how he was doing. So when Markwayne Mullin sits at the Senate confirmation hearing and they ask him, will you send ICE agents to the polls? And he refuses to answer that, you need to understand what kind of person you're dealing with here. What kind of person was put in charge of the DHS? And this is the part where I tell you that none of this should be new. None of this should be a surprise because it was written in Project 2025, the book we all knew about since 2023. The book specifically calls for ICE operations in churches, schools, airports. So when Steve Bannon says in his podcast that deploying ICE agents at airports is a test run for deploying them at polling stations, he ain't lying. And this is the part where I tell you that this plan is clearly unconstitutional and against the law. Federal law prohibits armed law enforcement at polling places for obvious reasons. And Democratic secretaries of state, state officials who typically run elections, have sent a letter to Markwayne Mullin asking him to confirm that he will not do this. And the deadline for this is set for April 8th. And if you're asking what good is that going to do, the answer is not much, but it's documentation necessary for the court cases, for the hearings, the trials that every single member of this administration will eventually have to face. So Kristi Noem got fired for embarrassing Trump, and Markwayne Mullin got promoted for being loyal to him. The DHS shutdown is a consequence of what happened in Minneapolis, and the airport chaos is a consequence of that shutdown. And the solution to all of this, by the same people who caused all of this, is to send the same agency that caused all of this into airports with no plan, no training, no mandate, no goals. All while the craziest members of MAGA are saying that this is dress rehearsal for November. Senator Markwayne Mullin's stated goal as DHS's new secretary is not to be the lead story every day. Well, congratulations, it's day one and you're already failing.